Your information station, WTIM.
Good morning, Leroy Clamoli here with you. Hope you're doing all right this morning as we get things kicked off and ready to go here for our morning show. And joining me this morning is Darren Butts and Caitlin Deedy talking to us a little bit about some of the great stuff going on with mental health. We'll talk to them in a moment. I want to thank our live stream brought to you by People's Bank and Trust. You can check it out on YouTube or on our Facebook page. And Darren, Caitlin, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us today.
Thanks for having us back.
And we were in the middle last week or a couple of weeks ago of having, actually I think it was last week, of having a discussion on mental health, and I felt like we didn't hit everything that we probably could have in that time. And so I want to thank you guys for joining us so we can continue the discussion, because I felt, at least for the time being, it seems to be a very important conversation that up until about maybe 10, 15 years ago was really tried to keep on the hush hush. I think in the last 10 years, Darren, maybe you can agree with, maybe you can have some thoughts on this. In the last 10 years or so, we've seen a massive improvement in the conversations that are happening to cover mental health.
Right. You had us in here a couple, I think it was last week, and we're diving into some stats and talking about some services. But today I really wanted to use this opportunity to really dive into how people can access those services.
Yeah.
It's still May. It's still Mental Health Awareness Month. So the more we have these conversations, the better we are.
Yeah, and to be able to be comfortable with having those conversations, because again, I think there's a stigma that's out there that we shouldn't talk about mental health. We should keep it quiet. We should just handle our stuff at home. But oftentimes that's generally not the case as far as making sure you reach out to somebody.
Yeah, last year we launched the initiative. It's okay to not be okay, and that was really having those really diving into those conversations and making it okay.
Yeah, and that's such a big deal for moving forward and for making that first step towards healing, because a lot of times you may not even realize that you have something going on, and other people though see you and see your regular option or see you on a regular basis and think, you know what, you're acting a little bit different than what maybe you did 3-4 months ago. Is something wrong?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So tell us a little bit about some of the resources that are available for different people. Obviously, different people have different needs. How do you address those needs per person?
Yeah, I'll kind of give an overview, and then Caitlin can kind of dive in. She's the professional. I'm just the outreach guy. So we'll kind of dive into those. I'd like to kind of base things specifically here in Taylorville and Christian County into different categories. We have, our general population. We have our youth population. We have our colleagues at Memorial Health that we really try to take extra special good care of, because we're the frontline healthcare workers, that if our healthcare workers aren't there to take care of everybody and mentally ready to take care of everybody, who's going to be there for that population of people? And then we also have a large farming community here in Taylorville and Christian County. So there's specific services for all of those.
Yeah. And obviously, again, each person being very important towards not every person can be treated the same.
Right.
And even certain people that may have the same characteristics may take treatments a little bit different than, say, you and I. If we both had mental health at the same time, we'd get treatments kind of a little bit different.
Very much so.
Each person is different. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Caitlin, what are your thoughts on some of the programs and what we can do to maybe reach out to people that are maybe having issues?
Yeah, so like Darren had pointed out, there's a lot of different avenues for people. So depending on what you have going on, whether or not you think it's a short-term or a long-term issue, or sometimes if you just don't know, the simplest place to start is going to be going to your primary care physician and letting them know what's going on, because they can help. And I know with our Memorial Physician Services, many of their offices have embedded behavioral health consultants. So those are folks who are in their offices that you can talk to, and they focus on meeting your kind of short-term needs. So if you have something going on, maybe there's a little extra stress at work and you just want to be able to talk to somebody about that, you can talk to them. And then your doctor can also help to identify, depending on your insurance, where it might be best for you to go for long-term help. So things like Memorial Behavioral Health, we have therapists who are able to provide services to people who are on public health insurance, so like Medicaid. We also have our clinical services for those who are under Medicare, or also private insurance as well. So your doctor or your insurance company, they can both help in getting you to the folks who are going to be able to address your needs.
For those who might not know what they're looking for, what are some signs and symptoms that maybe as a friend you might see somebody have that you can say that's different than or that's a trigger, that's a warning that I should be looking for?
Yeah, well, if it's somebody that you know pretty well, then you're going to be pretty in tune with changes in their behavior. So, maybe they're acting a little differently, maybe they're withdrawing, maybe they're not doing the things that they would typically do, that you're kind of used to seeing from them. Maybe you notice a change in their mood. They might seem more sad or more irritable. Those are all kind of signs of, hey, there might be something going on. And again, it could just be a change in their environment, something that's on their mind that's worrying them. And so they could maybe just need a little bit of support in the short term. Or if it's something that seems like it's a longer term issue, then there are avenues for them to be able to talk to somebody on a longer basis.
All right. Yeah. Always good to be able to notice and be aware of the signs and symptoms of somebody who may be needing help. Oftentimes I think, we get asked the question, hey, I'm not doing well. I'm not, or they send them maybe a text message or a message on Facebook, and they say, hey, I'm not doing too well right now. Sometimes that can be a little bit of a scary situation for the person who's getting that message as opposed to the person who's going through the ordeal, because sometimes you may, I know I've been in a situation where sometimes I don't even know what I'm, I don't want to upset the person, but I don't know what to say to maybe help in those kind of situations.
Really the first and the most important number that people need to know is the National Crisis Line, which is the National 988 line. So instead of just everybody knows 911 for an emergency, but over the last year or so, nationally, they've launched a National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is just you pick up the phone and you dial 988, and that immediately gets you to a counselor that is going to help with you or someone that is experiencing that is in a mental health crisis.
Yeah, and I know, being a veteran, I know we have our crisis lines that we can reach out to as well, that can help with people that are in tune with dealing with a lot of the same stuff that veterans have dealt with as well. So there's definitely plenty of help out there to.
And that's a good example of the veteran hotline. I mean, it kind of stems, everything gets more specifically, like here in Christian County, really in all surrounding farming communities, there's the farm family resource hotline, and that's run by SIU in partnership with Memorial Behavioral Health, and that's specifically for the farming community. So they can pick up the phone. You can call 833 farm SOS or 833-327-6767, and that gets you in touch with somebody that will specifically deal with somebody, that farmer or farmer families that is able to deal with a mental health crisis in that community as well.
I was really shocked to see that farmers really have a high number of I was not expecting to see farmers towards the top on that. I saw a list of like top professions that deal with like mental health issues. I was shocked to see how high up farmers were on that list.
There's a lot of things that play into that. Farming population, they work, like when they're working in the fields, very, very long hours, very much isolated they're working by themselves. They don't see their family. And there's a lot of outside factors that are not in their control, whether or not the weather is cooperating, whether or not their machines are functioning properly. And a lot of those things really are very difficult to deal with, and they're all by themselves. And it's something that we found is a very, very difficult people. And that population of people is very, very proud, right? And they're not willing to ask for help. And we've got to break down that stigma as well. Farmers are leaders in the community. So whenever they're on boards and they're on committees, and whenever people see them, they don't want other people to see them as weak. And that's the stigma that needs to be broken down as well for the health of the farming community.
Very much so, and to be able to take that next step towards getting you maybe the help you need. It might be something as simple as talking to somebody. It may need a little bit further help with medication or anything like that, but there are definitely ways to help deal with the stuff that may be going on in your life. And one thing that I was always told was it may be small to somebody else, but it's definitely a big thing to you. And that's always kind of been a sticking point for me as far as dealing with things going on like that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more with Darren Butts and Caitlin Dede, talking to them about Mental Health Awareness Month and some treatments that you can reach out to, and some ways that we can handle those issues that come forward. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
I'm Brandon Bible, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Stresser in Taylorville. Stay tuned at the end of every tornado sports broadcast on WTIM's many platforms when the WTIM announcers select the WTIM Brandon Bible Country Financial Tornado Player of the Game from that particular game. The player will be spotlighted for their great play in the game and also be given a certificate honoring their accomplishment. My wife Sam and I are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Player of the Game this school year.
If you're looking for the latest in local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Saturday morning at 10, Sunday morning at 6 here on WTIM. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed Central Illinois fishing reports, and I'll invite you to share your favorite stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, every weekend here on WTIM and on demand at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana, the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau, and Locked and Loaded in Pana.
This is Jennifer Franken's daughter, Isabella. My mom's with the Kathy Garsh sales team at the Real Estate Group in Taylorville.
I'm Ellie Keel, Brian's daughter.
And I'm Ava, Ashley's daughter. Our parents work together to help you buy or sell your home in Christian County.
I know my mom and her team have lots of experience in the real estate industry.
And they have a cool-looking office right on the square in Taylorville.
Come see my mom, Brian, or Jennifer at the Kathy Garsh sales team. They're trusted, dedicated, and connected.
The month of May is Motorcycle Safety Month, National Barbecue Month, and National Hamburger Month. Those have the guys at Just Beds all fired up for summer. This month, get sizzling hot deals on Bemco twin mattresses, just $149, and Bemco queen pillow top mattresses, only $289. Get to Just Beds for a better night's sleep. Plus, register to win nights Action Park passes. As always, free delivery, setup, and removal. Visit the Yoan Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds. The Taylorville Tornadoes are gonna do it today.
Listen for Taylorville Tornado baseball, softball, and Little League games on New Country 104.1 and stream live on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. You'll hear boys baseball, girls softball, and Little League games brought to you by
your locally owned Scooters Coffee at routes 29 and 104 in Taylorville. Are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Give Back promotion. Scooters Coffee will donate the following to the Taylorville Sports Boosters. For each Tornadoes varsity football touchdown, they're donating $10. For each three-point shot in varsity Tornado boys and girls basketball games, they're donating $3. And for each varsity Tornado baseball and softball game, they're donating $3. The 22 local Scooters Coffee Taylorville thank you for your business. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are gonna do it today. Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to WTIM. I've been doing that a lot, and I need to get out of the habit of doing that. But you're listening to WTIM, your information station. Leroy Clamola here with you. Hope you're having a good morning. And Darren Butts and Caitlin Dede joining us this morning to talk to us a little bit about Mental Health Awareness Month and some of the assets that are available to you and sources that you can reach out to if maybe you are struggling or dealing with a problem that maybe is a little bit too much for you to handle. There are plenty of resources out there through Memorial Health and through Taylorville Memorial Health to be able to get those to be able to help you handle some of the stress that you may be dealing with. And Darren, we were talking during the break a little bit about some of those programs that are available, and there are plenty of great ways and different ways that you can get the help that you may need.
Yeah. I touched on a couple with the National Crisis Line, which is a 988 line, and then there's the Mobile Crisis Response, Emotional Support Line, lots of other things that can be that are readily available just for people to make that first phone call.
Yeah. And so with the Emotional Crisis Line and everything, Is there so you can just call that number and there's somebody that's just waiting that will pick up and be able to talk to you about whatever you're going through?
Yeah, I think Caitlin can kind of dive into that just a little bit more.
With the mobile crisis response, we have a team available 24/7, 365 days a year, and they are available for you if you are facing a crisis, whether that's just emotional, I need some help. You can also call on behalf of somebody if you're concerned for them, and they can either talk to that person over the phone or they can come out to your home and or their home and talk to them. And in order to reach that number, that's 217-788-7070. That's 217-788-7070. And you can also find that number online as well when you look at our Memorial Behavioral Health website.
And again, we talked a little bit about these response lines and about being able to reach out, and a lot of this stuff. Obviously, you need to go through your insurance and through things like that. But for these lines, most of these are at least the cost is very minimal on these, if I remember right, as far as like for the actual like phone calls.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope. They are completely free. So
Yeah.
that is not dependent upon your insurance or anything like that. Same thing with our emotional support hotline. That's also available. So even if you aren't a patient at Memorial Behavioral Health, you can still call that number. And if you just need to talk to somebody and get some short-term support for, an immediate issue that you have on your mind, that is also available. And again, that does not require you to have insurance.
All right, sounds good. Darren, talk about mental health with farmers and making sure that they're taken care of. What other stuff can people do like that maybe need to reach out or maybe have other issues that are going
Some
on?
of the things that we're working on here specifically in the community is working on that link between substance abuse and mental health. So there's a great group of people here in Christian County called the Christian County Prevention Coalition. There's several of them super passionate about them. Aaron and Jason Dominowski, Dennis Metzger, John Good, Bernie Salisbury. I'm Sue Passo, Cody Talley. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but they meet regularly and their initiatives are based around prevention of substance abuse in this community. So what they've been working on here a lot lately is Narcan kit distribution and Narcan kit availability. So Narcan is an opioid overdose reversal spray, and having that ready available for people here in the community. I know there's lots of mixed emotions and thoughts about having that ready available, but I think the bottom line is that you can't help somebody that's experiencing an overdose if they're not alive. So the first step is keeping them alive and then getting them the help they need. So they've been placed at various spots in this community, Narcan, just public Narcan boxes. We've also worked with a lot of the school districts. Dennis Metzger and I have been going around to our school districts just to make sure that they have Narcan kits and are trained on properly how to use them for not just kids in their classrooms, but also people that come in for different events or parents or anything that are coming in there that might be suffering from an opioid overdose. So that's step one, and that group is super passionate, a really great group of people.
Yeah, and to be able to have that dedication towards that on a regular basis, that takes a lot. So we appreciate all the hard work that they do for that help. All right, we got about a minute left. Caitlin, any final thoughts from you as far as mental health awareness and what people can do?
Well, I think, again, it's a lot of it's just about knowing the resources and knowing the supports that are out there. So, even if you don't want to talk to your doctor about it or you don't have a doctor, you can still call Memorial Behavioral Health to see what your options might be. We have a lot of different service lines available for folks. So if you have questions or concerns and you'd like to learn more, our number is 217-525-1064, and you can call that number, or you can also look us up online and learn more about the services that we have.
All right, Darren, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think the numbers most of them we put out there, that's just the first step, is just making sure people have the numbers, making sure that people will be willing to make that first call to get services started. And we got to keep breaking down the barriers for people to feel comfortable doing that.
We do, absolutely. And to be able to have everyone take that first step, or to be able to see that family member that may be having that sign or symptom, then you can go, you know what, maybe there's something going on there. Maybe we should sit down together and go over this and see if we can't get you some help get you where you need to go. Yeah, very important first step. All right, Darren, Caitlin, thank you so much for taking a few minutes this morning to talk to us about some of the great things that you guys have going on over at Memorial Health. I know it goes without saying, but we really, really appreciate all the hard work that you guys do to keep people safe. So thank you.
Thank you again.
Your information station, WTIM.
Looming, now less than 2 weeks away. House Speaker McCarthy says he and President Biden had a productive phone call yesterday, and there will be more talks today, a face-to-face meeting at the White House. Writing that fear and the desire for safety are powerful forces, Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch has condemned government's widespread use of emergency powers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Christian broadcasters, filmmakers, and religious leaders gathering today